We shall now look at the type of reasoning questions known as syllogisms. So what exactly is a syllogism? Let's say you have two pieces of information and you use these two pieces of information to arrive at a conclusion. This is exactly what a syllogism is. A syllogism is when you use two pieces of information and then draw a conclusion from them. Syllogisms are a very commonly occurring question type in the IBPS exam, and you can expect about 4 to 5 questions from syllogisms. There are several statement types that constitute a syllogism. Let us look at what they are. The first kind of statement is called a universal affirmative. This statement is of the format all x are y. When you say all x are y, you can draw a few conclusions from it. One is that some y can be x, all y need not be x. If you draw a Venn diagram of the statement all x are y, it shall look something like this. The set of x is a subset of the bigger set y. For example, let's take the sentence, all penguins are animals. From this sentence, you can conclude that some animals can be penguins. All penguins are animals, but it is not necessary that all animals also are penguins. Some of them are penguins. So that is the first conclusion. The second conclusion is all animals need not be penguins. There can be animals which are not penguins also. The second kind of statement is called a specific affirmative. That is, it is affirmative for a specific set of x. So it is of the format some x are y. The conclusions that you can draw from this are that some y can be x and all x need not be y. The Venn diagram for this statement looks something like this. Some x are y. The region indicated by this arrow mark specifies the range of x that are y. So you can see that there are some y that can be x that lie in this zone, and all x need not be y. There are several x here which is not part of y. Let's look at it with the help of an example. We have the sentence, some people are dead. From this we can come to the conclusion that some of the dead can be people. The several things that are dead, and only some of them are people. There can be several dead things which are not people also. And that all people need not be dead. Some people are dead, that does not imply that all people are dead. Some of them may be dead, all of them need not be dead. The third kind of statement is called a universal negative. It will be of the format no x are y. The conclusions you can draw from it are that no y are x either. The Venn diagram are two disjoint, separate, not interconnected sets of x and y. That is, the set x and set y have no common elements. Let us look at it with the help of an example. We take the sentence, no humans are cows. The conclusion you can draw from this sentence is that no cows are humans. The fourth kind of statement is called a specific negative. It will be of the format some x are not y. This kind of statement does not tell you anything definitively. Some x are not y does not tell you anything conclusive about the relationship between x and y. Hence you can't even draw a Venn diagram. For example, if you have the sentence, some people are not poor. It doesn't tell you if there are people who are poor, or whether all people are not poor, or there are some poor who are not people. It doesn't tell you anything definite. The fifth kind of statement would be a combination. This would be a combination of the previous four statements that we have just discussed. For example, you can have a statement that says, some humans are cows and all cows are brown. Now this statement is a combination of a specific affirmative and a universal affirmative. The conclusion you can draw from this particular combination is that some humans will be brown. The last type of statements are invalid combinations. These combinations, they don't mean anything. They can be two negative statements, two specific statements, one specific and one negative statement. For example, no horses are cows and no cows are humans does not tell you anything about the relationship between a horse and a human. The other sentence, some horses are cows and some cows are humans, this again does not tell you anything about the relationship between a horse and a human. Similarly, a sentence such as some horses are cows and no cows are humans does not tell you anything definite about horses and humans. Let us look at how to solve a syllogism problem. Step 1 is to read the statements carefully. Step 2 is to draw a Venn diagram with the help of those statements. And step 3 is to verify each conclusion that the question is proposing. Let's understand this further with the help of a question. Now you're given 3 statements and 2 conclusions. The 3 statements are: all cricketers are footballers, all footballers are runners, no runners are cyclists. The 2 conclusions are: all runners are cricketers and some footballers are cricketers. Step 1 is to read the statements carefully. Now if you read the statements, all cricketers are footballers, all footballers are runners, no runners are cyclists, you can come to the conclusion that your statements shall involve 4 types of sportspersons, or there shall be 4 circles in your Venn diagram. The 4 types of sportspersons that this question is dealing with are cricketers, footballers, runners and cyclists. Step 2 is to now draw a Venn diagram comprising of those 4 circles. Statement 1 says that all cricketers are footballers. The Venn diagram for that statement shall look something like this. The second statement says that all footballers are runners. So the set of footballers shall be contained within the set of runners. So the Venn diagram now looks something like this. The third statement says that no runners are cyclists. So that means that the set of runners is disjoint from the set of cyclists. So the circle for runner will not intersect with the circle for cyclists. So this is what your final Venn diagram is going to look like. Now step 3 is to verify each of the 2 conclusions that are given in the question. The first conclusion that this question gives you is that all runners are cricketers. You can look at the Venn diagram and you can clearly say that this is not the case. Cricketers is a smaller circle that is inside the circle of runners. So there are several runners who are not cricketers. Hence this conclusion is false. The second conclusion is that some footballers are cricketers. Now if you look at the Venn diagram, you see that the circle for cricketers is inside the circle for footballers. So there are some footballers who are cricketers and there are some footballers who are not cricketers. So this particular conclusion is true. Let's look at some tips and shortcuts for solving syllogisms. I will be presenting to you 9 shortcuts that you must memorize. Now these 9 shortcuts can enable you to quickly and mentally solve a syllogism problem if you have sufficient practice using these shortcuts. So what are these shortcuts? The first one is all plus all equal to all. What that means is, if you have 2 statements, each of which has an all, then the final statement also will have an all. For example, the 2 statements, all the people are happy, all the happy are dancing. The conclusion, because it is an all plus all, will be all the people are dancing. So you take the first term from the first statement and the second term from the second statement and remove the common term from it. So all the people are happy, all the happy are dancing can be reduced to all the people are dancing. So shortcut number 1 is all plus all is equal to all. The second shortcut is all plus no equal to no. For example, if you have 2 statements such as all the cows are herbivores, no herbivore eats meat. Since all plus no equal to no, the conclusion you can draw is no cow eats meat. The third shortcut you must memorize is all plus some is not defined. That is, you can't come to any conclusion if there are two statements. The first one with an all, the second one with a some. For example, all the cows are herbivores, some herbivores are Australian. It does not establish any relationship between cows and Australia. You don't know whether any cows are Australian or no cows are Australian or some cows are Australian. These two statements do not give you any information in that regard. Hence, remember the third shortcut, all plus some is not defined. The fourth shortcut is sum plus all equal to sum. For example, if we have two statements, first statement being some painters are women, second statement all women are females, since sum plus all equal to sum, the conclusion you will draw is some painters are females. Shortcut number 5 is sum plus sum is not defined. For example, if you have one statement which says some runners are athletes, your second statement is some athletes are footballers. This is not defined because it does not establish any relationship between runners and footballers. You cannot say with any definite confidence that whether some runners are footballers or no runners are footballers or all runners are footballers. You just cannot say anything. Hence, remember that sum plus sum is not defined. Shortcut number 6 is again sum plus no is also not defined. For instance, some runners are athletes, no athletes are chess players doesn't tell you anything about whether runners are chess players or not. Shortcut number 7 is that no plus no is also not defined. For instance, if you have two statements, first statement, no thief is honest. Second statement, no honest is a journalist. It is undefined because it does not establish any relationship between thieves and journalists. Shortcut number 8 is no plus all equal to some not. For example, if you have two statements where the first statement is no singer is a scholar, second statement is all scholars are politicians, the conclusion you can draw is and lastly shortcut number 9, no plus some equal to some not. For example, no singer is a scholar, some scholars are politicians will tell you that some singers are not politicians. So these are the 9 shortcuts that you must memorize. This will help you solve a syllogism question mentally and save some time, because otherwise you would have to draw a Venn diagram. However, if you do not master these shortcuts, it is always safer to draw a Venn diagram to be sure, because each syllogism question sometimes is extended forward to one or two questions. So drawing a Venn diagram can sometimes be helpful because it helps you be sure that multiple answers are correct. However, if you have lack of time, memorizing these shortcuts can be useful because you can quickly solve the syllogism question.